Whether you're leading for the first time, leading through change, or learning to lead all over again, this space is for you. No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk from those who've led through challenges, adapted under pressure, and thrived in the face of change. Welcome to Command to Corporate, where leadership isn't just taught, it's lived. Let's get to work.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Command to Corporate. I'm your host, LP, Larry Perry, as you can see now on the screen. T is not with us because he is on vacation to the beautiful country of Colombia. So hopefully he's down there and enjoying himself, taking a much needed break. But I do have a special guest today, which I will bring on here in just a moment. All right, so here we have, and Mr. Gales, we are recording. I am recording now, but this is Sergeant First Class Vernon Gales, retired. I'm very happy to have him on the podcast today. How are you doing, Mr. Gales?
Doing great, Mr. Perry.
So, for I guess a little background for people that are watching or listening, I've known Mr. Gales since I was like 18 or something like that.
18. That's
And
correct.
I am. I don't divulge my age, but I'm 49 now, believe it or not. So can you believe that long that I've known? So after basic training, you go through, for those that may not know, you go through advanced individual training, AIT, where you actually learn your job. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Gibbs, but you were actually reclassing at the time into
Correct.
the MOS that I was, military occupational specialty, that I was joining as. And and that's the first time I met Mr. Gales, was during that transition at AIT. And then I was in the National Guard at the time. And so I wanted to, I was so pumped up about the military that I said, you know what, I want to go active. But because I was National Guard, I had to serve a minimum of 6 months. So I wanted to go with this class that was going to Germany, my class that I was in. Didn't get that luxury. I had to go back to Jersey. Spent my 6 months, and they said, okay, your option is now that you've signed up and gone active with Korea or Fort Hood, Texas, now Fort Cavazos. And I said, well, I don't want to go to Korea. So then I go down to Fort Hood. I'm in the, I forget the name of the office that I was in. What's the
Reception
name?
station?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was in
True,
the I
true.
was in the company. I was in the company, but I was in the admin office. And then I'm
Okay.
looking up at the board and I'm looking at the names and I see Sergeant Gales. And I'm like, I wonder if that's the same guy that I met like months ago. And then when he walked through the door, I was like, yes, somebody I know is down. And I'm like, I know that he's a great guy, and I was like, wow. So now to be with this guy, I was like, all right, I feel a lot better about being down here. So, and then I've known Mr. Gales ever since he came to my 40th birthday party. So
Yes.
years and years that have passed, and I can still call on Sergeant Gales. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. It's been 30 years, man.
I can't believe that. 30
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can believe it because I got a little gray here. You got some gray going on. That didn't exist back then.
Not at all.
All right. Well, in today's episode, we're actually reason I called on Mr. Gales. I mean, he's probably one of the top, if not the top. I'm not to tell him this top person that has inspired my leadership style, and what I try to give back to others, because I'm really emulating what he bestowed upon me, what he showed me, and to me that was outstanding leadership. And so I'm like, okay, well, he's definitely going to be my number one pick to bring on and talk to a retired service member around the topics of leadership, because he has definitely been that has epitomized leadership in my book. So thank you, Mr. Gales.
You're welcome, sir. It's
All
an
right,
honor.
so let's jump into it. Hey, the honor's mine. I'm telling you. Let's jump into it. So, can you tell us about your leadership journey in the military? And maybe it's before I even met you, but from the time you went in until that time, like what were some of those defining moments, and what maybe influenced your leadership style?
Over the past I guess it's been 42 years now since I joined the military. Wow,
Mm.
42 years. So, and while I was in high school, I joined the ROTC in our school. We just got a new program entered our school. We never had any of that. From matter of fact, from Mississippi, we never had any kind of activity like that. So, and going back, I have a couple uncles who was in the military, uncle, cousins. A lot of us joined the military. So it started from my uncle. Then when I was in high school, I had I call him my mentor. He's a retired two-star general, first black general in the state of Texas. So he was one of the guys that really, after my, emulating my cousin, got me into the military. So I kind of, check on him every week now. So he's retired at home, and so that got me started with uh, military was leading, and kind of pick up some of his examples. He wasn't a screamer or holler, a person like that. He's tried to give you direction and let you find a way to find out your problems. So that's how I got started. Then like you say, starting just with the changing the MOS from a combat arm, supporting within the combat arms, and joining the support when I met Mr. Perry. And this being there with the AIT students, being a reclass sergeant there, I never was a one that drills and scream and holler. I rather know,
Never,
uh,
never.
yes, I would rather show you what I used to have a terminology. If in your baby state, I can hold your hand, walk with me, talk with me, type. You remember that, Mr. Perry?
I do.
So
I do.
that's kind of you can kind of lead them like that. So and as I continue to grow in leadership, you can be in your basic training point is the one they drive them. So you drive cavalry, but you lead people. So that's my
Mm.
style. So
When you touch,
hiya, get cracking that whip type thing. That's how you drive cavalry. But you lead people by showing them by example, by your example, and giving them direction. And if they need some help for us, pointing, do it this way, like they're still just screaming, oh, you just come aside and show them. That's my style.
yeah, and I remember when you say kind of leading and by example. I remember you always used to tell me when in doubt, whip the book out.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
I'll never
that's it.
forget that. So that's
Yeah.
where, we had technical manuals, and I would instead go to Mr. Gales and say, "How do you do this?" And he said, "What in doubt, whip the book out. Like, go figure it out. And if I
Mm-hmm.
can't figure it out, then come, but at least make that attempt and try to figure it out." Which I would figure it out, by doing that. But it was always, "What in doubt, whip the book out."
Yes, no doubt. Yeah.
So, what leadership traits or values from the military have stayed with you in civilian life? I would say all of them, right?
Pretty much, yes. Right now, as I continue to as I retired, I continue to do the same thing I did in the military force, working in with the DSAT. So I work with General Dynamics, and we have DSATs. So a lot of the guys that come on to the team had never been in DSAT. Most of them was combat armed. I may have one or two that within my team that was a 45 golf or 45 kilo. The rest of them all been on a tank or yes, exactly. Yeah. So right now, I still use that same principle as you mentioned. Within doubt, with the book, they'll come and ask me, and I say, "Okay, this is how you do it." Then while they have some trouble trying to, they want to figure it out on their own. Then when they get to a point, they come out, look, and I just point right in and say, "How you know that?" It's just over time. Listen, you get there as well. It's just the experience over time. So
Yeah.
that's I still doing the same thing.
And for those that don't know, and I will never forget this, DSETS is direct support electrical system test set.
That's correct. Bottom line, we
And you
use
look
that
at
on interview tests. It's still the same. Yes.
that, I will never forget it. It's
Yeah.
just something because even when I've like applied in the past to jobs that had more of a technical background, being that the military was so far back, I may not mention it what I did in the military. But in talking about it, it's like, look, I did all kinds of electrical work, schematics, all of this stuff. It's like, you think I forgot that after 10 years? There's no way. That
This
is
is
ingrained in my my mind. Like I remember one time I took a laptop apart to repair it. It just looks like an old 45 Golf right there. It's like
Yeah,
figure it out.
get to the motherboard.
That's right. Get to the
Yes,
motherboard.
sir. Hmm.
So was there any hard parts in transitioning from the military to the civilian workplace for you at all, or was it just smooth sailing?
See, it wasn't hard. It's just some of the things as being a senior NCO, and a lot of that uh, person that you work here at Fort Hood, a lot of them were senior NCOs as well. Then when they come together as a group to be a team, you have all leaders there, and they start bumping
Mm,
heads. Yeah,
yeah.
so that part, I didn't have a problem. I saw a lot of the other employees have that issue. They think they still ran their rank while they was
Yeah.
in the military. This is different.
Mhm.
You can't lead them like that. It's different. So I didn't have a problem, but I saw a lot of them have problems. So I had to talk to them about why they did, because they are programmed that way. Screen
That's
out
true.
is part of the program. They're like, oh, okay, no, you can't do it that way. Then it took me, I didn't have any problem changing it, but just dealing with the people that had the problem, that that was the difference.
And as you mentioned in the work you're doing now, you really have not adjusted your leadership style at all based on corporate America, which I haven't. I mean, I've done the same thing that I learned, and it's carried me through all the way. So I think
Hmm.
that's pretty good. Do you think there are any misconceptions that civilians often have about military leadership or veterans in the workforce? That they think something maybe based on TV, movies, just have this preconceived notion about people, veterans, and coming out of the military and their
Yes,
leadership. What is it?
the one we just mentioned about, most of them they come in, they might have PTSD coming in, they all might snap in something. A lot of the civilians might think that, because yeah, that portion. Other than that, it wasn't a big transition for me.
And I would think that for senior leaders, especially, I mean, I think anyone that makes a higher rank coming into the civilian sector where you may have someone not only younger but clearly lack the experience and lack the
Hmm.
leadership, and then you have to deal with that. I think that can be tough because I know I faced it where I have in my mind, I remember when I worked, I think my first civilian job in Austin, and I had a manager, he had to be in his maybe early 60s, and
Older,
he
yes.
wanted a specific leadership style. And I told him flat out, because I'm going to just tell people like it is, you don't know leadership. I said, I don't have to have what you like to be effective. Everyone's style is going to be different. At the end of the day, am I effective?
Hmm.
Am I leading the troops? Are we getting the mission done? Well, yes. Well, then there's nothing to talk about because I'm executing. You may not like the approach, but at the end of the day, I deliver. So what's the problem? And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
so I just don't like it. And it's like, okay, that's your business. I'm gonna keep moving. Like, what's the
Yes.
problem?
Yeah. 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 See, me, I just, love that. Like brought me on for is leadership. I like continuing learning about leadership. And one of the ones I just learned probably 2 years ago, I was over in Poland, and I was listening to some leadership information. And the guy say a leader is a pathfinder, one that helped them find the path of the way.
Hmm,
Instead of driving them, you help them find the path. So I kind of feel that's my style, a pathfinder. That's the
that's
leader.
pretty. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Remember that, people. Pathfinder. Are you a pathfinder? Ask yourselves. Are you a pathfinder? That's
Mm-hmm. And another one I just yesterday just listened to leadership coming on. Say a leader
mm,
is like a shepherd, that sends the fast sheep out so he can have the other one follow. So like you with a fast sheep, so the others can follow you. So
okay. I
I wrote that
appreciate
one
it.
down too.
All right, that's a good one. I like that.
And
Yeah, because
and
I
that
remember.
one
Go ahead. Go ahead.
that was a quote from Nelson Mandela. Nelson
Oh,
Mandela.
okay.
Yes.
That's pretty good
So
because I remember
so
you telling me I was always a go-getter.
hmm yeah, we don't have to be out front. You just get behind them, and then and push them on out there.
That's right.
That's
That's
it.
good.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. So, were there any leadership practices in the civilian world that challenged what you learned in the military? Nope. Not at all.
No, 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 none. No, I was like, okay, let's. I'm ready to execute. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
That's
mean, I think that's the thing with the military, as leaders, I mean, really wanted to, you're going to give me what you want me to do, and I'm going to go ahead and get it done.
hmm
And I think some people don't know that it's just that easy for people
hmm
that really epitomize leadership in the military and really own their ranks. And as they moved and progressed in the military, like that's what we do. And I think for
hmm
some of them, they don't know that. And so if I'm like, hey, if you give me an opportunity, I will succeed. They're like, well, I don't know you or how, or questioning or your background. And it's like, just give it to me. That's all you got to do.
You
Give
make it
it to
happen.
me, and I'll
hmm
make it happen. I'll figure it out. If I'm saying I'm willing to jump into this role, then I know that I'm going to succeed in this role. I'm not going to set
Yeah.
myself up for failure.
hmm No doubt. Yes, yes,
I
sir.
don't think this would be really a thing for you, but I'll ask it anyway. How do you maintain a sense of purpose after leaving uniform service?
Just what's the next step? Let's move on to the next step of life. That's how I look at it. Whatever come my way, we're gonna, like you just mentioned, we'll tackle it and see what happens.
All right.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to veterans preparing to transition into leadership roles in the civilian sector?
Like you just mentioned before, continue to do, what's feel good to you for is doing your leadership style. And some of the transitions, you can't come there and beat them to death. How you, if you a one a rah rah rah, that part ain't gonna work in the civilian world, not at all. Because, like I mentioned, you can't drive civilians like you drive soldiers. They'll be
Yeah,
human resource to be calling you up, or you'll be
that's
out of, or you'll be out of a job.
that's right. That's right.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of them be like, that's fine, but you got to have, all kind of backup paperwork with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And some
that's
of the military, they just want to take one out.
Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
remember when I first got out of the military and I started working at that same job because it was my first civilian job. I said, well, you know what? Let me sign up for a leadership course just to see what is different on the civilian side when they talk about
hmm
leadership compared to the military because it's so structured in the military. Well, maybe it's different. And I go to the course. Who's teaching the course? Retired military. I said, well, I guess we are leading the way when it comes to leadership. And I was like,
hmm
oh man. And I befriended the guy. I mean, of course, it was easy for me, but I was like,
hmm
well, I guess it is what it is. But I think it's people appreciating that. That's what's missing. I think they see it over time, but it's really just like looking at it because I always look at leaders in the civilian sector. And I've talked about this with my buddy T on the podcast, and
hmm
a lot of them were really good individual contributors, and then they do really well in their job. Where somebody will say, "Well, hey, let me promote you and put you over people," and I think, well, what have they displayed that showed you they're good at managing people?
Oh, yeah, it's a difference. Yes.
Then how have you prepared them to manage people, lead people?
hmm
That's two totally different skill sets. And I see that when they throw them in there, some people educate themselves and rise to the challenge. And I'm going to be the best. Let me learn. Others will
hmm
never do that. And they just go off of what they see, whether right or wrong. And sometimes they turn out to be horrible leaders. They have biases and all kinds of things. And it's just, if you're going to get out there and say, I'm willing to take on the challenge of leading people, then educate yourself in leadership. Go to a class, talk to people, not just read books, but I think socialize and hear scenarios and what would you do and really learn. Because I think the military does it great with each rank that once you hit a certain point, you're going to a leadership school to teach you how to lead at that level, how to stay in
hmm
your lane.
Say it again.
So if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice at the beginning of the transition or in the military that maybe could have enhanced your leadership anymore, what would it be? Or would you? Or you all that in a bag of chips, Mr. Gills, and we call it a day.
Still, that question is, what would I change?
Or just a
Because
piece of advice that you would give yourself that you might
because
say, like, here's another nugget I would have wish I would have learned or someone said to me.
it's like the one you mentioned about. Well, I guess once you retired, you had an older gentleman you was in charge of, right? So
Mhm.
that I think that was my first part of leadership I dealing with as a sergeant. I had three guys that was prior to three in my squad. All of them was older than me, and they stay in contact like you do today. All three of them was older. Well, it's two of them. Two still stay in contact. The other one's all of them was Vietnam. One was Vietnam. The other one's he got to be almost 70. The other one, and they stay in touch with me. And
Wow.
but didn't have any problem at all with those guys. That I was younger than them. I was their squad leader, and they was about getting the job done. I'd have no issues with them at all, as far as leading them. So I lost the question. I'm sorry.
It was about what piece of advice you would give
Oh
yourself.
yeah, yeah. Just know, go with your gut feeling as far as leading them, and I call it's the GPS, the built-in spirit, and say it's like you said. Sometimes you say, "I knew I should have done that." That was your spirit telling you you should have did that. So it's
Mm,
always the gut feeling, and you say, "Okay, I should have did it." You got that. That's following. Still, that second guessing yourself. That's following.
that's good.
Mhm.
Just follow that gut.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Most time that's that, and you call it the gut. That's your GPS inside.
Man, that'll work. Follow that internal GPS, people. Follow it.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, that's it, Mr. Gills. I appreciate you joining. we
That's
done.
it.
We're done. That's it. That's it.
Wow, man. Technology. It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, it was very good, man. I appreciate
Yeah,
you. And I will
yeah.
definitely catch you next time.
Yes, sir. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
All right. You too. Take care.
All right, all right.
All right.
Bye.
All right. That was a pretty great session. Short, but I mean, it was to the point. I mean, Mr. Gales, old Sergeant Gales, I mean, like I said, I've known him since 18. Been an amazing inspiration for me. I think I've learned, if not, I've learned the majority. And I had some good leaders, and I think I mentioned him very early on that he was one of those leaders that I really admired. Um, as he said, he wasn't the type to do any kind of yelling. I never did that in the military. And you can still be just as effective, even to this day. I mean, of course, in the civilian sector, you're not going to do that. But um, he was a really great. Glad that he's still in my life. I appreciate that. I appreciate him showing up. And that is it for today's episode of Command to Corporate. So thanks for tuning in to Command to Corporate. If today's episode gave you value, do us a favor, share with a colleague or teammate who's ready to step into leadership. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and connect with us on YouTube so you can see us and you'll be able to see Mr. Gales, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for more leadership insights and resources. And until next time, lead with clarity, lead with purpose, and always remember mission first, people always. Take care.